Cryptocurrency. One word, so many questions.
I need to make sure the money I'm using is the best one I can be using for the time. Bitcoin is a shot or a crack, if you will, at this opportunity of making a money for the internet.
The concept of a digital currency itself can be hard to grasp. When you try to find out more information, you're hit with a list of terms that need defining.
Mining.
The miners.
The aggregate miners in the Bitcoin system.
So blockchain.
On the blockchain.
The technology really is the blockchain, non-fungible.
But the NFT part comes in when you put it in the blockchain.
If your head is now spinning, you're not alone. But despite the confusion, cryptocurrency is becoming more popular.
As it continues to grow and be useful and seen by more and more people, the price goes up. So there's a lot of indication in seeing it early when everybody thinks you're nuts.
So could cryptocurrency be the future of money? Or is it a complicated fad?
One, how does it achieve value, right? And second, how are transactions managed, right, in that currency?
This is a concept that in theory is going to make humanity essentially, it's going to make things a lot fairer for a lot of other people in other countries, access to money, which is power and security and safety.
In this episode, we're explaining cryptocurrency, what it is, how it works, is it secure, and what you need to know before getting into crypto.
KSAT Explains.
KSAT Explains. KSAT Explains.
KSAT Explains. On-demand, in-depth perspective. Perspective on stories we bring you in our newscasts throughout the day. We're looking into concerns over voting safety during a pandemic and the battle over mail-in voting. A look at how the protests and demonstrations have played out in our city and an examination of what it means to be black in San Antonio.
An issue that you have likely felt the effects of, rising property taxes.
The roots of Tejano run deep in South Texas. We examine the cultural impact the music has had in San Antonio.
Bitcoin, blockchain, NFTs. By now you've likely heard all of the above, but maybe you still don't quite understand what's being called digital gold rush.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of KSAT Explains. I'm Myra Arthur. We're glad you've made it this far into our show because we'll be honest, after the research we did for this episode, we know that understanding cryptocurrency is not easy. There is layer upon layer of explanation, and you can dive down a proverbial rabbit hole on this subject if you really wanted to. But in this episode, we want you to walk away with a better understanding of what's being called the digital gold rush. So up first, we explain what cryptocurrency is and how it works. To kick things off, here's Alex McLeod.
Like the name suggests, cryptocurrency is rooted in cryptography, the practice of writing information in a cryptic, coded way to make it secure.
So cryptocurrency is essentially derived from computers. So a computer is given a very complex mathematical problem, and this computer is tasked with solving it. And when the computer solves it, it gets a reward. And that reward is a completely randomized code that only the computer can solve and obtain. And so it's rewarded with value. And that's where Bitcoin first started off.
The computer solves the problem and gets paid. Bitcoin is the most well-known form of cryptocurrency, and it's been around the longest. And as the first ever crypto, Bitcoin served as a jumping-off point for the creation of nearly every other form of crypto in existence. But why is this digital currency becoming popular?
One, it's digital. You hold it yourself. It's very much like the stock market, right? You can buy a share of Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy a share of Apple. You don't have to buy a whole share. It goes up and down based on how many people want it at any given moment.
Created under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto, whose real identity remains a mystery to this day, Bitcoin was first established back in 2008. As the story goes, it would be assigned monetary value for the first time in 2010 when a Florida man paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 Papa John's pizzas. It was far less then, but that would be worth more than $440 million today.
And then people started using it, and people started realizing it was a valid way of doing it. And then it started getting more and more traction.
And that's essentially what drives the value of cryptocurrency, pure human interest. To better understand this, we have to take a step back and address what gives other currencies value.
There are two main forms of currency, right? Cash-based systems and credit-based systems.
Cash-based money, as we know it today, is also known as fiat currency, meaning it's government issued. Examples would be the US dollar, the euro, or the Japanese yen.
How does it get value? So you have the US government, the Federal Reserve, who basically decides what does a dollar bill look like and what it's worth, right? So they decide what bill is worth $1, what bill is worth $20.
Then you have credit, a trust-based system in which a person borrows money from a lender with the expectation it will be paid back. Credit cards served as a good launching point for those who wanted a way to make transactions online, but the issue was privacy. Your bank or credit card company knows exactly how you use your money. Plus, you've seen cards and accounts get hacked time and time again. Enter crypto.
Researchers wanted to develop a currency for online trading, which represented very much like cash in terms of anonymity, right? But was not controlled by the government or some service provider, right? Like a central service provider.
Cryptocurrency is decentralized. No central provider, no government to assign value. So why is this supposedly a good thing? Supporters argue it's because fiat currencies like the dollar are technically unlimited. An entity can just print more money, which can lead to inflation.
When I was in high school, a 20-ounce soda was 75 cents, and now it's $2, right? And that's inflation. And so I wanted to hold something that I thought would be a global currency that is limited, that is what we call a deflationary currency, meaning its value goes up over time.
But what or who gives that crypto value? The short answer, everyone. People decided cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin had value because they took interest in it and demanded it. And once more people took interest, it became more valuable. And when well-known people began to take interest, it drove up demand even further, which in turn drove up that value. A recent example, the Dogecoin.
It's basically Elon Musk, right? He went after that, and he kind of, in some sense, in a subtle way, hinted at basically, backing it. And that's why it generated that demand, that frenzy, right? The more demand it generated, obviously the value started going up. And actually, the more the value starts going up, people want more.
Also driving value, the currency is limited, meaning there is a finite amount of any given form of cryptocurrency that can ever exist. Supporters say this is a plus, because keeping crypto limited ensures that its value holds steady over long periods of time. In the case of Bitcoin,
there's only ever going to be 21 million.
That limit was built into the Bitcoin source code by its creator, who also designed it so that mining a block of Bitcoin's blockchain is less rewarding as more coins are out there.
Yep, now we've hit you with those crypto terms, mining and blockchain, two words you'll find over and over again when researching anything about cryptocurrency. We are here to decode, so let's dive right in. We'll start with the blockchain.
At the end of the day, it's just a ledger. So every single time I send Bitcoin, that information, that transaction, that amount gets put into the Bitcoin blockchain.
A block contains a record of every transaction made, including how much was spent and when, though what was purchased and by who remains anonymous.
Essentially, you're acting as your own bank. And so what blockchain does is every single time you make a transaction, it has to be approved by every single point in the blockchain throughout the ledger for it to be accepted as a transaction.
Each new block is digitally strung together to form a chain. While there are tons of types of cryptocurrencies out there now, we'll keep using Bitcoin as an example. For Bitcoin, a new block is created on average every 10 minutes. That's how it was designed by its creator. That's good news for miners.
It's 24/7. Exchanges are open 24/7 because miners are mining 24/7. This thing never stops. It hasn't stopped since its inception. So every 10 minutes, a block is mined by a miner.
Let's dig into mining. To explain this new concept, we'll use an old one that more of us can probably relate to. If Alex pays me 1 Bitcoin, someone or something has to make sure that's a legitimate transaction. Miners run software on computers using an algorithm that is essentially double-checking the random assortment of numbers assigned to any transaction, making sure it's legit. Think of a miner like a bank teller. You give the teller a check, they double-check the signature, the amount, the routing number to make sure it's a good check. The bank collects the processing fee. Well, in the case of cryptocurrency, the miners collect the fee for doing that double checking, a percentage of that transaction. And anyone can mine. All it takes is software and a computer. The better the computer, the faster it can process these complicated algorithms, and the more it can mine. meaning the miner can earn more cryptocurrency.
So you want something that can make a lot of calculations in a very short amount of time, because you're literally trying to crack a code. It's like trying to open a safe. And usually these codes are hexadecimal and they're like 200 digits long, and you have to figure out each one of those as it goes down the line. And once you figure out a full piece of the code, you get rewarded with the crypto.
But mining isn't the only way to get crypto. You can flat out buy coins or fractions of coins using good old US dollars right on your phone via an app.
You'd first have to make an account with either Coinbase or another exchange.
And there are plenty of apps to choose from. Among the most popular, Coinbase, Robinhood, and eToro. For our investigative purposes, we went with Robinhood and discovered the process of buying crypto is easy.
And you can buy a whole bunch of different cryptocurrencies. There's some that aren't offered, but the main ones are. And you can actually trade on those platforms and invest as well.
And that's exactly what we found. Once you put in some personal information and link your bank account or credit card to your new digital wallet, purchasing crypto is as simple as clicking buy, like online shopping. It's also easy to trade and sell. While Bitcoin is the oldest and most popular, it is far from the only cryptocurrency. The others, though, didn't appear out of thin air, nor could they exist as they are without Bitcoin. They were created using the foundation laid by the first ever cryptocurrency.
Bitcoin is really the epicenter of all cryptocurrencies. Most cryptocurrencies, there's around 6,000 right now. So all the heavy lifting, all the technology that all these other cryptos are using is derived from what Bitcoin got right.
And that includes its code. Successful cryptocurrencies that followed Bitcoin used the Bitcoin code, changed ever so slightly, to launch an entirely new coin with its very own blockchain. All right, how is everyone? Still with us? We hope so, because now we're about to explain another head-scratching topic that you might have heard about when it comes to crypto. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. These are digital assets, sometimes art or even sports highlights that people pay to own. But they're not tangible. They live on the internet, and some have sold for wildly high prices. We may not be able to explain why someone would be willing to shell out millions for a tweet, but we can explain what an NFT is. Here's RJ Marquez.
NFTs, non-fungible tokens. It's a digital asset. So what does non-fungible mean? It basically means the asset is unique and can't be replaced with something else. Bitcoin is different in the sense it can be traded for another Bitcoin, but an NFT is one of a kind.
Like a dollar is fungible. $1 equals $1, it's the same. 1 ounce of gold is 1 ounce of gold, it's the same. But one NFT is not the same. So they're all very different.
They seem to have exploded in popularity recently, but they've been around since 2014. They were called colored coins back then, but they didn't really evolve until people understood the power of blockchains.
In 2017, some guys made something called CryptoPunks, which were small little pieces of art, and they put them on the Ethereum blockchain. And they gave away 9,000 of them for free, and they kept 1,000 of them. And that was kind of like the OG of the NFTs.
Another word you'll want to know when it comes to NFTs is Ethereum. It's a cryptocurrency that allows you to add an NFT to its blockchain, so a combo of digital currency and a ledger of transactions. It's one of the options you can use to build your NFT, which makes it an attractive one for buyers. You'll need a blockchain to create one. Here's how Alex explains selling a limited piece of art similar to this one as an NFT.
I took a scan, I put it on the website, I had to mint it. It cost me around $50, give or take, to mint it, to tokenize it, to put it in the blockchain. And so this is one of the reasons that people don't just sporadically throw everything in the world up there, because it actually does cost you to post it. But recently, some smaller competitors have started getting a lot more traction because it's a lot cheaper to create an NFT on their blockchain. What is the difference? Nothing for the consumer and nothing for the creator. It's just a different blockchain.
Artists are using this space to monetize their work.
Like if I bought a painting from someone and hung it on my wall, this would be like buying a JPEG and hanging it on my computer. I have it, it's mine. It's the same thing. You can sell art, music, those kind of things.
This GIF is called the Nyan Cat. And believe it or not, it sold for 300 Ethereum, or about $590,000. You might have also heard that the founder of Twitter sold an NFT of his first tweet for just under $3 million. A tweet just 5 words long. Other organizations like the NBA are also getting into the NFT game by selling player highlights on digital cards. A Tim Duncan digital highlight has been sold for about $33,000. It's one of a limited amount of Duncan digital highlights the NBA has sold. Could someone just Google a clip of some of these highlights? More than likely, but they wouldn't own it. And that, according to fans of NFTs, is a big draw.
There is very little law and rules right now. I'm sure they will come around in the next couple of years, but right now, you as the creator, you as the person who's selling the object, you can give them the physical of it if you're selling a physical item. If you're just selling a digital item, this has nothing to do with that, right?
There are some concerns with NFTs and blockchains, specifically how they impact the environment. The creations of blockchains requires a lot of power. Computers mine for hours and days at a time, consuming a lot of energy.
And there's stories about how mining is, Bitcoin mining takes more power than small countries. That's true. That's absolutely true.
Another concern, how do you know that your digital content or NFT is secure? The easy explanation is it's registered on the blockchain, something that can never be changed or replicated.
Someone can't fake that because it's in the blockchain. So that's very valuable, I think, to people who want to do like contracts and stuff too. So the ledger never lies at some point.
An original NFT is also linked to your digital wallet. Once you sell your NFT, it gets transferred to the buyer's wallet. So keep your private key, which is basically another word for password, in a safe place.
By now, we've covered a basic understanding of NFTs and cryptocurrency. But one giant question is lingering. Is currency on the internet the future? Right now, cryptocurrency is largely viewed as an investment. It's not the norm for people to buy their groceries or pay rent with Bitcoin or Dogecoin, for example. And some things would certainly need to change for that to happen.
The first and most important factor is acceptance, right? So for any currency to really work as a currency, it needs to have some, it needs to basically be used for something.
There has been some acceptance. Some big names now take Bitcoin as payment, including some Coca-Cola vending machines, Whole Foods, and Overstock.com. But there are factors that could keep companies from jumping on board the crypto train. For one thing, logistically, it takes some work to have the back-end technology to accept crypto.
Most small companies or most small merchants, they don't want to get into that, right? Unless there's a big payoff.
As you've learned, the value of crypto goes up and down depending on demand and perception. So if a company chooses to accept crypto and keep it instead of selling it off for US dollars, it could lose value. Or the company could choose to convert crypto into another currency, which would require them to find a way to trade. And then there are the environmental concerns we mentioned a few minutes ago.
It is so much computational power that is spent on that it's basically not a very green or, I would say, climate friendly currency.
Some companies are aware of this fact and aren't eager to contribute to environmental problems. But what about acceptance from the users, the general public? Some people are already there, full-on crypto enthusiasts. But then there are the skeptics who view all of this as a gamble, which even the enthusiasts argue there is some truth to.
Bitcoin started out very humbly at a fraction of a cent. Anyone that bought Bitcoin 10 years ago was a massive gambler. If they told you anything else, they were lying.
But even now, 13 years after Bitcoin was established,
a Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency is always a very risky investment, right? Because it's highly dynamic in terms of how its valuation changes.
The valuation changes are undeniably volatile. During the course of our work on this episode, we saw tweets from Tesla founder Elon Musk and even his appearance on Saturday Night Live send the value of Dogecoin soaring, then plummeting, rising again, and then a plunge. He poked fun of Dogecoin on SNL, calling it a hustle.
And suddenly, Elon Musk washed his hands off it, and so now basically it's not valued anymore, and so effectively, people are just trying to sell it and get rid of it.
Then there's the issue of security. The experts we talked to agreed the blockchain technologies themselves are secure, but the apps used to buy and store crypto could be prone to hacks.
The biggest thing, and when we talk about this, the biggest thing that I see is the problem is these ransomware attacks where they encrypt your files. They use the same kind of thing. They're using encryption to hide your files on a system. Then they turn around and tell you, look, for $1 million here, you can have the key to get all your files back.
Ransomware isn't limited to crypto. It could target any data, but the rules to keeping yourself protected are the same in pretty much any situation.
Don't want your password put on your keyboard. Don't give your password out. Use a good password that you can remember, and for God's sake, remember your password, you know. Those are all the universal things. And as far as keeping yourself safe from ransomware, try to keep a good backup, but have a good backup solution in your system. It's really cheap to do a backup system, and people don't do it.
So, that lingering question, is crypto the currency of the future? Here's one cautious take.
Not unless some major providers or some major companies get behind it, because it will get some kind of validity to that cryptocurrency. And the problem is that if you have companies that get behind cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, it loses its value of being independent.
And the independence of this digital currency is a major draw in the first place. And that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to NFTs and cryptocurrency. But we hope after watching this episode, the next time that you hear about a tweet from Elon Musk talking about Dogecoin or see that an NFT sold for millions of dollars, you'll be in the know. But to really drive things home, we're leaving you with a cryptocurrency song, Schoolhouse Rock style. Thanks for watching the show. Now here's Sarah Spivey.
This is an ode to cryptocurrency. Here are a few things you need to know before you dive into crypto. You've probably heard about Bitcoin and Doge, but there are thousands of others besides those. Crypto is meant to be a digital currency, but its volatility has led to a lot of uncertainty. Fans like that it's free from government oversight, but its value can go up and down overnight. So how do these currencies get value? Demand from me and you. A tweet from Elon can drive that demand up, but it can tank it too. A ledger called blockchain keeps track of each transaction, and miners make sure they're legit for a fraction. And then there are NFTs, things like video clips or tweets. The blockchain also stores them, but they're not exactly green. This isn't everything you need to know before investing in crypto, but it should be enough to keep you in the know if you find yourself in a conversation about Doge.